That's for WOLA. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to be talking about elevating your social media using Canva, which is a free tool that has saved a lot of time for me. And I'm going to change my name in here so you all can see my name. So I feel like most of you probably know me, but if you don't, my name is Nicole Walton and I work for the Altos Chamber of Commerce. I've been with the Chamber, I guess, 3.5 years now. And when I joined, I was actually the title of more administrative assistant. So I now am the marketing and communications manager, which meant that I really needed to learn that role while I was doing my job. So it was something that I was kind of thrown into, and I had to learn it pretty quickly. And one thing that helped me a lot is listening to presentations by professionals. We had a few that came to the chamber and spoke. One that came to Lava that I joined in and listened. So that definitely helped me a lot to learn things along the way. But as I'm sure many of you are in the same boat as me, that this isn't our only job, right? So we're doing social media, but we also are doing a lot of other things. We don't have a lot of time, and we're trying to save money or keep in budget. So we're looking for free tools or whatever we can use to help along the way as easily and quickly as possible. So Canva is one of those things that I came across that has just saved my life. And I love it so much. I use it for just about everything. If you see something that's posted to the Chamber website, if you see flyers, if you see our social media, probably making it in Canva. Now there are other tools out there, and I'm not paid to do this. I'm just promoting this as something that I personally know how to use, so I can share my knowledge on how to use it. But I know that Oscar Garcia, who works in our office, uses Adobe Spark, and he likes that. We've had another intern who liked that platform as well. I tried it out. This is just the one that stuck for me. So I just wanted to share what I know about it, and I think that it could save you as much time and money as it has saved me. So. One thing I really like about Canva as well is that it just makes my social media feel a bit more professional. And I like as well that things that I've designed have been acceptable and usable, that if I've sent an ad to the town crier, no problem. I know that when I'm creating it in Canva, it's going to be fine. I've used it for when we created our magazine. Also worked out great. So it's nice having that kind of security of knowledge that if you were to create something in like a Word document or a PowerPoint, and you try and export it, and it turns out that the colors are wrong or the sizing is wrong, something I never really have to worry about when I'm using Canva. So I wanted to start us off with a little poll just to get an idea of where people are at. So this poll is, what are you using now to design your social media content? So this can be anything from I'm already using Canva, I'm using the free version, I'd like to learn more, I'm using the paid version, I'm using another platform, like I mentioned, Spark. I have a paid marketing service, or I'm part of a group that provides content for me. I know that some of the people that signed up, like Mimi is part of Curves, so Curves might have content that's created for her. I saw someone else from a larger group, blanking on a real estate group. So they might have content that's created for them. Maybe you're just posting pictures with your phone. Again, perfectly fine. And I'm not very active on social media right now. So I think we've got 8 out of 10 people have voted so far. I'll give you just a minute more. Let me go ahead and I will end the poll, and I will share some of the results. So we do have some people that are already using Canva, the paid version. And I'll talk a little bit about the free version versus the paid version. We're using the paid version. There are some benefits to using it. but there is a free version as well. It all kind of depends on how much you need to use and how much you need to use those extra services. So I have a paid marketing service or a group that provides content for me. I mostly, quite a few of you, I mostly just post pictures with my phone, and I'm not very active on social media right now. So that's great. Thank you for giving me an idea of where you're at right now. So again, Canva this is a lot for creating design. So design elements for your social media. So just taking pictures with your phone and posting, still going to be really great, especially if you're kind of keeping that story narrative in mind. And if you're a shop and you're posting things on your shelf, if you're working that angle, that's still going to be really great. But if you want to get information out there, like I'm having a sale, or my hours have changed, or here's a quote I'd like to share, or if you want to create a flyer, you might need something a little bit more. So this is where Canva comes in. So again, we're using the paid version, but I signed up with the free one just now with another email so I can give you an idea of what that looks like. So here is, when you sign up for the free version, it's going to ask you what if you're a teacher, a student, personal, small business, large company, nonprofit. I'm going to go with small business. And they would offer you, so you could do the try for 30 days, the pro version. I'm actually going to skip this because I really want to show you what you can do with just the free version. So that's just maybe later, and you can invite team members to collaborate as well. I'll go ahead and skip that. So here we go. We can start our first design. So we can do an Instagram post. Again, these things are all sized for what they need to be. Here's a logo, a Facebook post, Facebook cover, presentation. There's a lot of flyer poster. There's a lot of options, which I really like. And you can also size things to be something that's not usual. So on our website for the chamber, we have a field that is 1200 by 225 pixels. It's a very strange, long size, but I can still create that here in Canva. So let's go ahead with something easy, and we'll just start with an Instagram post. So when you open up your Instagram post, it's going to be blank, but you have a lot of free templates here that you can choose and use for inspiration. One thing I like is that they do tend to put things that are topical right up here for you to look at. So coronavirus is obviously something that is very topical right now. So that's right here, and it gives you some things that you could use and within your platform, but it's still something that's very relevant to right now. Black Lives Matter as well. They have a bunch of different ones that you could use and personalize and then use it on your own social media feed. And then they have, simple things like food, sales. And I think when I first started, I just would go through and just find something that spoke to me. And I said, I like this one. Let me go ahead and I'm going to use that one. Later on, I did get a little bit more picky on what goes with our brand. So what looks on brand so that it doesn't just look like a hodgepodge of things that I'm posting. I want it to look cohesive. So you can start out with this. So here's your template, and it's going to be very easy to type and change. So I'm going to call this the Los Altos Boutique. And maybe I don't like this font, so that is going to be easy for me to change as well. And maybe I decide that this is the font that I like. And I don't like this font here. Lots of different fonts to choose from. And change it to that font. here as well, so we can use, now this is one of the places where the free version and the paid version, there's a benefit to using the paid version. There are a lot of free photos that you can use, but there's a lot more if you go to the paid version. So yeah, so 60 million premium images is something that you can do if you were to get the paid version. But let's just say I want a photo that's about shopping. And I can move that along. I can change the width of any of this. I can change the height. I can move the elements of the text. Make this bigger. There's a lot of freedom, but also simplicity in that something is created for you and you don't have to think about it too much to use one of these elements to make something look nice. Okay, so when you're done, you decided that you like your element. Here's some options. So we can just download this and have it on our computer. And from there, we can post it to whatever social media site we want. We can email it to someone to make sure that they like it. Or we can directly post these things to our Facebook page and Twitter. So that makes things a little bit easier. I don't think that Instagram works as well with this. They're a little bit trickier on what they work with, but you can have these posted, as well as you can have it printed just through Canva if you wanted. Again, download options. So we can download this as PNG, which is a high quality image. We can download it as a JPEG. If I wanted to have this printed, again, I've mentioned that I use Canva to design for town crier ads. I can have it printed in PDF quality and even have crop and bleed marks, which will allow for cropping. So that when they're printing, they know exactly where to print. So crop and bleed marks are little like X's in the corners, so they know exactly where the design ends. So it's makes it pretty fancy. Again, that is just a basic of what we can do here. So let's see, maybe someone who's watching, can you give an idea of what kind of post you'd like to see designed? We can do a Facebook post, we can do a logo, a flyer, anybody, a poster, you can chime in on what you'd like to see us design next. All right, so Sally had a question of, can you upload your own photos? Yes, we very much can. So let's just say that, okay, so Mimi has an event coming up, a Relay for Life virtual event on June 20th. So let's just say that Mimi, you want to create a flyer for that. So let's go ahead and create a flyer. Back this way. Okay, so here's create a design. It gives us all the different options of things that we want. And I do like as well that they save your design. So I'll show you our paid version a little bit later. And okay, so Mimi's looking for more of a Facebook post. So let's go look at a Facebook post. All right, so here's a bunch of templates for a Facebook post. Let's see if now sometimes I like to search the templates because who knows, maybe there is something about a relay. Nope, how about an event?
Go for it, go for it.
Okay, so let's see. Maybe we'll just start with this one and see what we go from there. and I can add multiple pages. I can copy things and tweak them. So let's just, again, for here, down here is where we upload photos. Now I did find, I was playing around with this a little bit last night, and I did find that there's a way to integrate your Facebook so that your Facebook images can import into this as well as if you use Box or Dropbox, you can put those in here as well so that your images that are already in Box or Dropbox can come through. So I'm just looking at my downloads, look at my photos and just see what I could add in here. So I'm going to upload this photo of I Love Los Altos. And then I can go ahead and just plug that in there. So I can update this to say, Relay for Life. You can add the date. Add the time. I can resize this. And maybe these colors, now these ones I think are actually images, but I can add, oh yeah, so I can still change the colors for these. So maybe these colors aren't really the colors I want or aren't really on brand with what I like. So maybe I like more of a green palette. So I can go ahead and change these to be whatever fits with more of what I'm looking for. So now these are my colors. If you don't like the way this text is put here, you can go down in here and maybe we like this better. Maybe that fits a little bit better. You can have more information. Add all of our information there. So again, this is very easy to use. Getting a little bit deeper dive into things, we can ungroup. So if these things are all together, but we don't want them to stay together, we want to move around a specific item, we can ungroup them and move specific items to different places. And maybe we like how they are now and we want to group them back together. We can click and drag versus picking up all my background items. So that's another thing is I only want to pick up the front items. I can go ahead and lock these back items so they won't move when I'm trying to move around all of the rest. So when I try to select these items, they will only select the text or ones that I haven't locked into the background. I've selected these and grouped them together. And now when I want to move, just the items I selected will move and the background won't move. Let me show you another thing as well. It just kind of makes me feel a little bit more professional when I'm using Canva, is that I can filter. See if I can find a better photo. Go into photos here, and I think I'll try this photo and add that in there. Now here's some effects. So this is where I think things get really cool for me, is that I can remove the background. So I don't know if you've tried to do this with a logo before or ever tried to, I guess, sorry, you need it with the free version. So I'll have to show that in the paid version. But if you've ever tried to just get something here and remove all this background, you can find some tools online that are free, but they're very hard to search and they're very hard to use. But you can do that now in Canva for free or with the paid version. Duotone is another thing that I found that was pretty cool. So you could take this image and say, you know what, I just want this to look really purple. I've decided I want this to look purple, and that will make it more of a background that still shows the photo, but makes it a little bit easier to add text in front of. So now I'll add my text element. So I'll add my text now in front of this. It'll make it a little bit easier to see. Maybe a wild sale seems more appropriate for this one. Add a wild sale. So again, when you're doing social media, you can easily just take photos and share photos, and that still does give a really good narrative and a really good story about you and your business. Talk a lot about right now in social media is sharing a story. So people want to shop with people that they know, like, and trust, or feel like they're more connected with. So sharing photos of inside your shop, or sharing photos of things that you're doing out in the community, sharing stories about you, about your employees, about things that you're doing is a really great way to share it. You maybe don't need something like this to share that, but if you want to share something that's a little bit more text or more informational, Canva is a really great way to do that. So Kim had just asked where the duotone is. So let me go back to that. So if we add a photo and we go into effects, that's where we found the duotone. You can also, I haven't really used these other ones, but you could do something like pixelate. So we're going to pixelate our photo and see how that looks.
I'm going to have you help me here.
Is that Mimi? Did you say something?
Sorry.
No worries. Just
Asking. I'm sorry.
All right. So let me look into. Okay. Another cool thing. Let's see if. I think another thing that's really on trend right now, just because we're being bombarded with a lot of social media, and you have to compete to really stand out. So one of the things that really does help you stand out right now is having animation or having a video. So let me find, so animated social media. I think this is one of my favorites right now. It just adds a little something extra to your social media that, even though, you know, this is fairly blank, you can just add something that adds just a little bit of animation to it to make it stand out. So let's go with, let's see which one we like. I kind of like this dog. So let's just say, so the text, and it's pretty simple, but when you're scrolling past your social media, something that has this is going to stand out to you. Now we could update this, we can add a different photo, it's going to stay within that frame. They have elements here, so you can add more animations with these stickers. And super easy to use, just drag and drop. We can add shapes, we can add emojis, social media stickers. So if you have a video and you want to tell people to turn their sound on to watch the sound, put that in there. Very easy to use. I think I like the most about Canva is there's not too much of a learning curve with this. That you can get really deep into it, which I have, and I enjoy doing it because that's what I enjoy doing, but you don't have to in order to create something that's really fun. So when you're ready, you found that this works for you, you can just click straight here to Facebook page and you can just add this straight there. So then the your animation will be straight onto your Facebook page or into Twitter. You can also download it if you want to take a little more time to think about it, or like I do, I schedule things. So you can download it as a video, just download, you can share the link with someone, you can present to show it to a coworker, or you can just click on Facebook page and it will go straight. You can add your text and it'll be posted on your Facebook. So animation, something I really like. You can also animate pretty much all of your social media that you create. So you don't have to go to animation, but let's try it with this one. And there should be. Yes, so animation. Oh, looks like, again, this is a pro version item, but what you can do is pretty much add animation to any of your items so that text will zoom in or it'll flash, things like that. But another way, if you're using the free version, just go straight to animation. Yes, so Mimi had a question here. Can you save it into another format, flyer, Instagram? So here's one thing. You'll see this button up here that says resize, and it has the crown, which means that's a paid version item. So let me hop over to the paid version and show you some of those things that you can do. So here's the one we used for the chamber. This is our paid version. So you'll see things like we have a lot more designs in here that we have done. So, and I have a lot of folders as well that I try and keep track of, and put things that are in categories so I can find them later, because if you'll look at all of our designs, it goes on forever. So if I want to access them quickly, then I can put them in folders so I can find them later. So let's just look at the design I created for our, oh, sorry, I need to log back in as my chamber account. Give me a second here. So once I get in here, so again, I'm trying to show the resizing. So this is the design that I created for our little event today. I can show you what I was talking about earlier. We can animate so that the text comes in as a block, it fades, things like that. Or I can just leave it plain. But so now that I've created this one, and that's typically how I start, is I create one for Instagram, but now I need it to post on Facebook, or I need to post somewhere else. So I go into resize. So I need to create an Instagram story. And maybe I also need a Facebook event cover. I can create multiples at once and copy and resize and pop up in a new tab. And it's doing its best to make what I've already created fit to the new template. It might not be perfect, but it's pretty much there. So now let's say I don't really like, I need it to look a little bit better. Need it to fit a little bit better. So I've stretched this out. Maybe I want all of this text to move down. Go ahead and lock this. Again, lock this blue background into the back. And maybe I want this to kind of stretch out. So it's fairly easy to do, and you just need to tweak things, but it's very easy to resize. So this is something for me, just because I'm creating things that are going to be on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Facebook event covers. And it made it worthwhile for me to pay for the pro version simply for me to use this resize button rather than having to recreate every time you want for a different template. And really there's any template you could think of. Facebook cover, Instagram, animated social media, Facebook video, poster, flyer. I can resize to any of these really quickly. And like I said, we have earlier, we have a really weird size that we use on our Facebook, I'm sorry, on our website that is dictated by the program we use for our database management. But it's 1200 by 225, no problem. I can plug that in. Say the town crier tells me I need to give an ad that is 9.75 inches by 5.25 inches. no problem. I can resize it to exactly that, and I know that it'll be exactly what they're looking for. Another question from Sally is that, can you save specific brand colors? Perfect. This is another reason that I really love the pro version. And this is what kind of comes to that elevating your social media thing, is creating a cohesive look across your social media. Let me try and show you our show you our Instagram real quick. And this is one thing that, after attending a presentation by ModFox, which is a design company in Los Altos, I realized that our brand really didn't look cohesive. And I needed to step that up and have more of a cohesive branding color. So I found a tool online that can help you decide what your brand color is like. It's something that maybe is dictated by whatever group you're a part of, or what you've been using. But for us, we went into a mood model and found what we liked and worked for us. So I found this kind of green color, and once I've picked that out, I was able to save that, so that it is something that I can use over and over. So let me see where. So it's in my brand kit here. So these are things that I chose, but you can add more. These are some brand colors that we have, and I can go to very easily, as well as brand fonts. You can add more palettes here. You can add more fonts if things change, but this was a big deal for me in keeping things cohesive, so that even if I'm using, a template that's different, I can still make it look like it fits with everything else. So when I go in here and change colors, when you went to the free version, now it still does things like it picks up colors that are in your design element so they can match. But here it shows me my brand colors. So for me, it's very easy to say, okay, which of my brand colors works best with what I'm trying to do right now? And I like this one. So easy for me to do that. Let me see. Tools. Oh, and now that we are in the pro version, I can show you how you can remove backgrounds. So let's see. We'll go ahead and create a design. Go into templates, and this time I think I'd like to create a flyer. So I can browse all of these, decide what flyer I think I like, and yeah, I think I'm going to go with, I'll go with this one. All right. So Tim from Dynas just chimed in to let everyone know that he created this cool background from Zoom in Canva. So when you were looking at deciding what template we wanted to create, there was something about what's hot right now. So trending. So you can find Zoom backgrounds here. Father's Day is coming up, and maybe you don't want to go out to the store to buy a card, even though you should. But you can design your own card here. You could have bingo Instagram. So you can find out what's hot. But let's go into here, and we're going to add a photo. So we're going to add this photo of this gentleman here, but I want him, this background, this gray background isn't really working for me. So I want to remove that background. I can go into effects, and once it comes up, taking a little bit of time, but once it comes up, I can easily just remove the background from him, and that way he'll float around the image. things I can do while I'm waiting for this is I can change the transparency of this as well. So any item I can make fade into the background. Let's see if this comes back. Normally I don't have this issue. Let's try maybe a different element. I don't know if this doesn't work on all photos. If I can add him back in there, see if it'll work on this element. There we go. So background remover. Easy as a click of a button, and the background will be removed. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier that I've tried to find tools online to do this before, and it takes a lot of time, and it's pretty cumbersome, but now I can just remove a background really easily. So that was a big deal for me, again, with the free version. Okay. So how's everybody feeling so far? Any specific questions?
Hey, Nicole, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, question for you. What I usually do, like you do, I usually do an Instagram first.
Yeah.
And I find the way that I'm getting it from Canva to my Instagram is like really cumbersome. Mm-hmm. Because I usually use Instagram on my phone. Yep. And so I end up downloading it to I use Canva on the desktop. I download it to the downloads, mm-hmm. and then I save it to like the desktop, and yep. then this is ridiculous. And then I email it to like my personal email, which I can then open on my phone.
Yeah.
And then it's ridiculous. So many steps. So like how could I cut out some of those steps?
So two options. The first and easiest is download the Canva app on your phone. So
okay.
I have the Canva app on my phone, and I often will still design it in on the computer just because it feels a little easier than doing it on a tiny screen.
Right.
But then I can go to my phone and
just open it, basically.
Design.
Yeah.
And from there, I can easily post that. I just hit the up button, and I can easily post that straight to Instagram. So I think that's the easiest one. Okay. I'm 99.99% sure it's a free app, and it links to your accounts. Everything's there when you need it. Okay. Another option is if you really want to skip your phone altogether, is using we use a scheduling tool.
Yeah.
So I download it. It's in my downloads. Then I upload my media, and then this is later that we use. And I can pretty much drag and drop my social media into the calendar for when I want to schedule it. And again, easy to do as well for Facebook and for Twitter. And one of the benefits as well of using a scheduler, not only to schedule things out and have a place to do it all on your computer, is some of the analytics that come with it. So
nice.
Use the scheduler. It helps you to see how did that perform and did that do well. So later, I believe, has a free version and again a paid version. So it really depends on what you want to use. And later's not the only one that's out there. Planoly was what was mentioned by ModFox. I know that someone from the city uses Hootsuite. So there's a lot of different ones out there, but that is certainly an option.
That's great. Yeah, I've been, the scheduling is a great idea. That's one of the things I haven't pulled the trigger on, but that's a good one. And then one other question is, is it true or false? Canva seems to do like an auto save. Like every time I go in and edit something, it seems to just like I don't see where I'm saving, and yet it keeps saving the most recent version of it.
Yeah, it like right here it says all changes saved. Like if I move something, reload the page, saving error. But every time I move something, if you look here, you will see it mention that it's changing. Like, so it's unsaved changes saved. So it
So it's
does
kind
it
of just
pretty
doing it
automatically.
kind of the way like Constant Contact does it, just as you.
Yeah, and I tend to be the person that has 17 tabs open, and it's saving all the tabs, and I don't really have to worry about it. Now,
That
one
is
of those
annoying
things
that it opens every time you do anything. It opens a new tab. I'm like, why do I have like 10 Canva tabs
yeah,
open?
I guess I'm that person, so I like that. But
Okay.
I do like as well that it's fairly easy to go back. I think there's a limit to how many times you can go back. So if you aren't sure that if you're playing around with things, it's going to save them. And if you aren't really sure if you want that, I tend to copy the page and make this one my original one. This is my mess around one.
Gotcha. That's good.
This is the one where I'm changing things, but after I've made 17 changes and I decided I didn't really like it, I can go back to this one.
Yeah, you got your default. Okay, cool. That's
yeah.
good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
This is Sally. This is great, Nicole. Thank you so much. Another question back to the branding colors.
Yeah.
So can you actually enter the Pantone numbers, or how do you? You don't have to like look through all the yellows to figure out the right one.
No, you don't have to. So let's go back to our brand kit and let's add a new palette. So when you go in here, if you know your number, you can type it in 1111 E, and that'll bring you to your color.
Okay, perfect.
And you can do that as well. If you didn't want to do the paid version just for that feature, you can do that as well in the free version in your design when you're, this may have logged me out of the free one, but if you're in your design and you want to change an element and you know your color, you can type it in here as well. And it'll, probably not enough ones, or
okay, great, thank you.
type it in like down here and it'll bring you your color.
So in the free version, you won't have that brand palette though. You'd be entering.
Yeah, the free version, you don't have the brand palette, but maybe if you're looking to save money and you don't mind the extra step, you could copy and paste that over every time you do something.
Right, okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions? Wendy was asking about how to animate in the free version again. So let's see, I think in the free version, it won't let you animate from a basic design, like add the zoom, but you can go to the template that is animated social media, and all of these will animate. So I haven't used the free one in a while, so I didn't really look at this, but it seems a little silly to me that you can create an animated social media. You can't animate something you've already created. Seems a little arbitrary, but if you go to the free version, you look for animated social media, you can do that. And if you're creating a template, the way to find that, you can either go to templates and you can search it here, or you can search I guess that kind of, yeah. So it did bring up some animated social media here. It also brought up some things that happen to have the name animate in them. So you can find it that way. So you can still do animation through the free version. Another thing I found is, and I haven't played around with this very much, so I can't speak to it too much, but you can do video in Canva. So now I've created like titles for our YouTube videos, but you can actually create full-on videos in Canva. You can upload your video and create it like this, and then download it and post it to your YouTube, or download it and post it to your Facebook. So you can add videos that have just the kind of professional elements on top of them, and edit these however you want. I thought that was a pretty cool feature. I haven't played around with it that much, so I can't speak to it that much, but video is kind of king right now. So anything that stops your eye when you're scrolling through your social media, is a really cool tool. So some other things I found when I was just, I was browsing around late last night to see if there were other things that I could add, is I found that you can create a QR code in Canva. So this is something that's really nice to add to a flyer or something you might be putting up in your window, is to be able to create a QR code that someone can come up to and scan and go to your website. So let's say, I think it makes most sense to do this in print media, but it's fairly easy for me. Let's just say I want this to go to our website. So I generate the code, and there it is. Easy as that. And you can, move this to be at the bottom of your flyer. So that was a cool thing I came across. I also came across that you can add Google Maps. So before, anytime I needed to add a map to an element of my design, I would pretty much go to, I would go to Google Maps and then screenshot it, but this is a lot more professional looking. So I am going to add, the chamber office. So now I can just drag this into my design. And it has all the elements of, here's the address. And I believe that it double click to interact. So I can double click on this. Oh, and it will zoom in and out. So that's a pretty cool option that I just discovered last night. And I think one of the things I've liked about Canva the most is they're constantly adding things, and they do have a pretty good email marketing to you to let you know about new things that are happening on Instagram, like when they started adding the new options in stories where you can promote a small business and it has 3 little icons of that small business, their recent posts. So it tells you about things that are happening, but it also just provides some education as well. So you're new to graphic design, you can basically take a little video course on graphic design basics. You can learn about mood board. You can figure out what font you like. And there's a lot of things in here that you can learn just through Canva. So it's a great tool for people that need to take a crash course in marketing and design. There's lots of things here. You can discover new things all the time, new features, and you can learn. So it's always something that you can add to your skill base.
Hey, Nicole, where was the maps thing? Where did you reach that feature?
Yep. Sorry, it's going a little bit fast. So I went to, so I'm in Canva. Up here is Discover. And then it was an app.
Okay. Discover.
And then there was Google Maps. And then Suzanne had a question as well about QR codes. So apps, and then Google Maps and QR code. And I did play around with these in the free version, and I believe both the maps and QR code did work in the free version. Now I'm curious about what YouTube is. But there's apps as well to integrate. So like I mentioned earlier, if you have Box or you have Dropbox, I discovered last night that you can add that in as an integration so that you can get any photos that you have saved in your Box or Dropbox. And that becomes part of your photo database. So instead of having to find it, download it, upload it, all those steps, you can just go straight there and find the photo that's in there. And looks like you can now put your YouTube videos inside presentations. So that's pretty cool as well, that if you already have a YouTube video and you want to integrate that into a presentation, you can do that pretty seamlessly. So that was a cool element. Very random videos that they're showing us here. Any other questions that are coming to mind now that we're getting close to the end of the hour? Thanks for sticking with me. All right, looks like, thank you, Suzanne, for the thank you. I think that's pretty much it. Again, there's a free version of the tool. Here's more elements that you can add here. So there's a lot of different, you can post to LinkedIn, Pinterest, post design to Pinterest, PowerPoint. So there's a lot of, even using this pretty consistently for the past 3 years, there's a lot of things that I'm still discovering that you can add to this. So it's a cool tool that, again, has a free option if you're kind of a low user, you don't need it that often. Just to add a little pizzazz to your social media or to your design. You can use this for flyers, you can use this for presentations, just anything to kind of jazz up what you're designing. Or if you're a little bit of a heavier user like me and you need options like resizing and branding and more photos, there are so many photos that you can access here. I get into very specific searches for very specific items, and you can still find quite a lot of them here. And they have a great database that they recently made completely free for the paid users. Before, there were still some that you needed to pay extra for, even as a paid user. That would be $1 or something like that. But they listened to feedback that if you're paying for the service, which I think is about $12 a month, then you really should be getting all of these for free. So you also have icons, elements. I recently discovered charts. These are something that you can add and you can actually put in your data points. So these charts would actually show up with your data that you need if you needed to do a presentation that had data in it. Overall, I found this has been a huge time saver for me and has really elevated my social media, so that I hope it can help you. So thank you so much for joining, everybody. I'll try and come up with some more topics that we can discuss, maybe more on some of these later, or social media planning and scheduling options. But this is Canva, and again, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Nicole, can I ask you one follow-up?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we've been talking about it, of course, mostly as a social media tool, but like looking at those charts, do you think people use Canva like as a replacement for PowerPoint? Could you use it just to create slides basically, or maybe?
I think that you can use it because PowerPoint does have a limited amount of
like graphical
design elements of their presentation, but I still think that if you were to create a presentation, you would still need to export this into into PowerPoint to present it. Now there is this present button, so I guess we could just use this to present. So maybe I'll add a few titles in here and see if that works, but we could theoretically, and hopefully you can still see this screen, but we could theoretically use this for our presentations.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
And bypass PowerPoint completely.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Unless there's any other questions that popped up, I think I'll let you all go and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. That was very nice.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you enjoyed it.
Great job. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.